Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And this is going to be a review of last night's edition of Smackdown, which was the October 2nd edition. And it was from the Amway Center in Orlando. And Smackdown last night, I thought it was an okay show. Wasn't great or perfect by any means, though, but it was an okay show aside from three rematches that we saw. But I like the stuff in the opening segment with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. That was very good. Alexa Bliss in that segment with Kevin Owens. She was on the Kevin Owens show, which Kevin Owens came over to SmackDown because of the brand Invitational. So the Kevin Owens show had, Alexa Bliss on. And Sasha was on, to send a message to Bayley. And I thought the main event with Sami Zayn versus Jeff Hardy, the Intercontinental Championship was on the line. That was a very good match. But SmackDown was okay last night. So I'm going to jump right into the review. So SmackDown opened up last night with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, and this was a ceremony to crown Roman as the tribal chief. So Roman and Paul Heyman got into the ring, and Heyman ended up getting on the mic, and Heyman ended up asking us to forgive him because he's a little nervous. Paul Heyman went on to say that he's known Roman and his entire family since the day Roman was born. And he's always looked forward to his actual moment because everyone knew this was destined to happen. Heyman went on to say that we are all here to officially declare Roman as the tribal chief. And Heyman then said not just the tribal chief of his own family or SmackDown or the company, but the tribal chief of the entire WWE universe. And he wanted to say, which is why it's so necessary that Roman is your undisputed universal heavyweight champion. So then Heyman wanted to set the stage appropriately with respect. So Reigns ended up interrupting. And before Reigns interrupted, Paul Heyman ended up giving some names of some, Hall of Famers like Peter Maivia, Reigns' uncle Afa. I think that's how you pronounce the name. And also Roman's father, Sika. So that's when Roman ended up interrupting Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns ended up saying that he doesn't want Heyman to call him that. And he said he doesn't want Heyman to call him the tribal chief because he wouldn't acknowledge him as that. And Roman was referring to Jey and Jimmy after, what happened at Clash of Champions, where Roman basically had Jey down. Jimmy ended up coming out pleading Jey that he was going to throw in the towel, which Jimmy did. So Roman ended up wanting his cousin, of course, Jey, to come out. So then Jey Uso ended up coming out. Jey was on the mic, and he ended up saying that he doesn't know Roman. He ended up saying that Roman showed his true colors at Clash of Champions. And so did he. He ended up saying that Roman beat his ass. But if it weren't for Jimmy throwing in the towel, the Universal Championship would have been his. So Roman ended up staring Jey down Reigns ended up asking if Jey thinks he's proud of what he did. Reigns ended up saying that Clash of Champions was the worst night of his career. The worst night of his career professionally and personally. And that he wanted to help Jey, make him in the main event. Put him in the main event. Give him a marquee with his name on it. So Roman ended up going on about wanting to help Jey. And he ended up saying that all Jey had to do was acknowledge him. And that all he had to do was say the words and acknowledge him as the tribal chief. Reigns ended up saying from the day he was born, this has been his birthright, and that he wasn't handed this, and that he had to work his ass off. And Jey has seen it the entire way. So he ended up saying that Jey broke his heart, and that all Jey did was disrespect him and embarrass their family. So Roman ended up calling Jey out for looking at the Universal Championship, because Jey was looking at the Universal Championship and not at Roman. And Roman was like to Jey, is this all you want? Reigns ended up asking Jey if he wants another shot at the Universal Championship. Reigns ended up saying that Jey's got it. And Roman was like, oh, Jey, do you want it at Hell in a Cell? It's yours. So Reigns ended up saying that the match will have the highest stakes that any match has ever had in WWE history. So Reigns ended up hugging Jey. He ended up telling Jey, while he was hugging Jey, that he wouldn't accept the challenge. And this time there will be real consequences. So Roman ended up dropping, the mic, and he ended up exiting the ring with Paul Heyman. So Jey ended up taking the mic, and he ended up saying, whatever the stakes are, Roman is on. So Jey has accepted the challenge. So we're getting another rematch, Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns at Hell in a Cell for the Universal Championship. But this segment was good. Really liked it. Love what they're doing here with Roman and Jey. And then after that, AJ Styles came out. Styles was on the mic, and he ended up asking if this is all over. Did he miss it? So Styles ended up asking if it really matters who sits at the end of the table and has the most chicken bones. Styles ended up saying, believe it or not, Jey matters to him. So Styles ended up saying that he doesn't want to see Jey take another beating like he did last Sunday at Clash of Champions. Styles ended up telling Jey to find someone more qualified to go for the Universal Championship. And he was like, let Reigns be the tribal chief, sacrifice a goat or something, and you can go on living. So Styles went on, and he ended up saying that Jey can go on living as the run he's always been, because his brother is the better athlete. So then after Styles said that to Jey, Jey ended up going after Styles. He ended up sending Styles to the floor, leapt off of the announce table to knock him down, to knock Styles down, and that was that. Smackdown went to commercial. And then when Smackdown came back from commercial, we had Jey Uso versus AJ Styles, which was a decent match. We had the match start off with Styles getting the upper hand on Jey Uso. Jey came back and blocked the whip from Styles and rocked Styles with the right hand. Jey Uso ended up keeping control, and he ended up dropping Styles with a headbutt. There was a point where they were on the outside. Styles ended up suplexing Jey Uso onto the announce table. And at the end of the match, you had Jey Uso end up kicking Styles in the face. Jey Uso went to the top and delivered the Uso Splash onto Styles for the win. There you go. Jey Uso ended up winning the match. But decent match from Jey Uso and Styles. Really liked it. Match flowed perfectly with them. And then we went to Sami Zayn backstage. Sami Zayn was backstage. Of course, he's the undisputed Intercontinental Champion after, he won the Triple Threat winner takes all ladder match on Sunday at Clash of Champions. So Sami Zayn ended up saying that he knows you're expecting him to gloat over everything. He says that he had a mix of emotions, and one of those is resentment and anger. Sami Zayn went on about how he's been treated over the Intercontinental Championship, and that he realized that management aren't the ones to blame. So Sami Zayn ended up blaming the fans, and that the fans are the real ones to blame for going along with the ride, as he calls it, frauds were given the Intercontinental Championship when Sami Zayn was out because he didn't want to work because of COVID, which Sami Zayn did the right thing. So WWE punished him for it. So Sami went on and ended up saying that he will do everything that Styles and Jeff Hardy should have done with the Intercontinental Championship, with this supposed sham title or fraud title. And Sami Zayn dropped the title, the Intercontinental title that Styles and Jeff Hardy end up wearing. He threw the title in the trash can. And Sami ended up dropping the belt in the trash can, and SmackDown went to commercial. So, but Sami Zayn is awesome. Sami Zayn is great. So we're back to having one Intercontinental title. And here's where we get into the rematches. John Morrison versus Otis. Did not give a shit about. How many times have we seen this? It's nothing new with these guys. Otis ended up winning. He delivered the caterpillar to John Morrison, and he went to the second rope, delivered the Vader bomb. There you go. Otis ended up winning. Moving on. Here's where we get another rematch. Sheamus versus Chad Gable. How many times have we seen this? Sheamus won. Bro kick to Chad Gable. That was that. It's like Bruce Pritchard was like, oh, I got nothing to plan for tonight. So let me just make matches that we've seen before. Oh, Vince, here you go. Here's the matches that we're going to see. We're going to see Otis versus John Morrison. And then Vince goes, that's good. We saw this already. I like it. Put it on the card. And then Sheamus versus Chad Gable. Then Bruce tells Vince that, and he's like, oh yeah, that's even better. Put it on the card. And that's that. So, Sheamus won. Bro kick to Chad Gable. Moving on. We had the Kevin Owens show. Kevin Owens was on Smackdown because of the Brand Invitational. I'm like, why you have Kevin Owens from Monday Night Raw come on tonight? Come on Smackdown last night during the Brand Invitational when we all know that the draft is next week. I'm like, why? Why have Kevin Owens on SmackDown when there's a draft next week, next Friday? to be clear. Yes, the draft is happening next Friday on SmackDown, and it's going to continue on Monday Night Raw on the 12th. But hopefully this draft is done well and WWE doesn't fuck it up. But knowing WWE, they're going to find some way to fuck it up either way. Because that's WWE for you. So Kevin Owens ended up mentioning that the draft is next week and how this could be his future home. I don't mind Kevin Owens going back to SmackDown. If he is drafted to SmackDown, that would be pretty cool. So he ended up introducing his guest, Alexa Bliss. So Alexa Bliss ended up walking to the ring, and Kevin Owens ended up saying that he's been paying attention to what's been happening on SmackDown. And he has so many questions about what's been happening to Alexa Bliss. Kevin Owens ended up bringing up Alexa Bliss's shift in her attitude and her anger. And Kevin Owens ended up saying that it reminds him of what he sees in his nemesis on Monday Night Raw, of course, is Aleister Black. Kevin Owens and Aleister Black have been feuding. So Alexa Bliss ended up saying that she doesn't know what Kevin Owens means. And Kevin Owens ended up telling Alexa Bliss that Alexa is not the same woman he met 5 years ago at the Performance Center, who was always happy and making people laugh. And so Alexa ended up telling Owens that people change and that Kevin Owens should try it sometime. Kevin Owens ended up saying that he's tried to change and that he's tried to better himself and do things the right way. But it isn't about him changing. It's about how she's changing, how Alexa is changing. And Kevin Owens ended up saying that he needs to understand this darkness that is taking her over. Because if he can understand that, maybe he can understand what's happening with Aleister Black. So Alexa ended up saying that people fear what they don't understand. She asks Kevin Owens if he's ever been around him, meaning the Fiend. She ended up telling Kevin Owens that it's fearful and captivating. She ended up saying that your spine gets cold, your body goes numb when he touches you. It's like pins and needles. Alexa ended up saying that it's like he's looking right through you when he looks in your eyes, and you can't look away. So Alexa ended up asking Kevin Owens if he has any idea what that's like. And Kevin Owens was like, oh, we're not talking about Aleister Black. And he doesn't think he will get the needed answers from Alexa because Alexa's been brainwashed by the Fiend. Alexa ended up saying, yes, her brain has been washed. She ended up saying that all the lies have been washed away, and now she sees the truth. She ended up saying that she's been cleansed by him, the Fiend. And Kevin Owens ended up saying that, oh, he's here, isn't he? Alexa ended up saying that he's everywhere, and she can hear him now. So Alexa uttered the words, let him in. So the lights started going down in the Amway Center. Kevin Owens ended up pacing the ring. The lights go out. It's black. It was black. The Virtual Boy red lightings have come on. The Virtual Boy red lights came on. The Fiend locked in the mandible claw on Kevin Owens. And Alexa Bliss was just sitting calmly. She was watching from the chair. and the Fiend ended up taking Kevin Owens down with the mandible claw. The Fiend was screaming and yelling in Kevin Owens' face. So the Fiend ended up standing back up, and the Fiend ended up turning his attention to Alexa Bliss. So Alexa was shown in a trance, and Alexa was staring at the Fiend. The Fiend then ended up approaching Alexa, and they were staring each other down. Alexa Bliss slowly got up from her chair. The Fiend ended up taking Alexa's hand, and Alexa ended up looking, at the people, in the crowd, and she was smiling, and she holded the Fiend's hand, and that was that. But Alexa Bliss here, she's the best thing on WWE television right now in this role, alongside Roman Reigns. But very good very cool acting here from Alexa Bliss. I like when she's in that trance when somebody mentions the Fiend. So, but this is interesting right here. But this was a good segment. Really liked it. And then we had a 6-man tag. Corbin, Cesaro, and Nakamura versus Matt Riddle, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik of the Lucha House Party. And I know a lot of people were making fun. I've seen people were making fun of how Matt Riddle's hair looked last night. And I'm like, Matt Riddle, he had that hairstyle before when he was in NXT. With the Pippi Longstocking look that he had. He had that in NXT before, so I don't know why people are making fun of how Riddle's hair looked. I'm like, these are the people who probably not have even watched NXT. Now we're commenting on how Matt Riddle's hair looked last night. He's had it that way before. So Kayla Braxton was backstage with Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik and Matt Riddle. And they ended up talking about teaming together and not letting negativity drag them down. So you had Matt Riddle go, bro. So Kayla ended up asking where Kalisto is. Lince Dorado ended up telling Kayla Braxton that Kalisto is still in the locker room and that he may be having trouble getting his mask on because of how big his head has gotten. And so pretty much that was basically that. And this was, rematches in this 6-man tag. Of course, you had Corbin and Matt Riddle go at it here. And then you had Cesaro and Nakamura versus Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik. Matches that we have seen before, but they put them all together in a 6-man tag. So it considers 2 rematches, all in one 6-man tag. So, but did not care for this. Matt Riddle and the Lucha House Party end up winning. You had Kalisto get on the ring apron, and he ended up kicking Lince Dorado. Dorado ended up getting dropped. And then Cesaro ended up sending Lince Dorado out onto Kalisto. Matt Riddle ended up fighting off Cesaro. And Matt Riddle then ended up hitting the Bro Derek to Cesaro. And there you go. Matt Riddle and Lucha House Party, Gran Metalik, and Lince Dorado ended up winning the match. Post-match, Kalisto ended up running into the ring. And it led to tension and arguing between Kalisto and Lince Dorado. Matt Riddle ended up holding Kalisto back. And that was basically that. So the cracks in the Lucha House Party are, getting more and more bigger. So eventually we want to see the breakup of Lucha House Party. Soon enough, when that comes. So then we had the mystery woman. Of course, it was revealed to be Carmella. She ended up saying that sometimes you need to take a good look in the mirror at yourself. And she ended up writing untouchable on a mirror in a lipstick. So she ended up saying that, sometimes you need to take a good look in the mirror at yourself and see who you are. She ended up admitted that she forgot who she was as she got lost along the way. But she knows exactly who to blame. And she ended up blaming the fans. Carmella ended up saying that the fans wanted her to do things their way, play by their rules. She said, look where that got her. Absolutely nowhere. She ended up saying, then she remembered that she is Carmella. She's better than all of us. She ended up saying, but do you know what she is not? She is not the princess anymore. She ended up saying that it doesn't matter if she gets drafted to Raw or SmackDown, because this time she's untouchable. So she ended up having a Polaroid camera in her hand. She ended up taking a picture. And that was basically that. So there you go. Revealed to be Carmella, like we all knew it was. So then we saw Sasha end up coming out. And Sasha made her way to the ring. She was still in the neck brace. She ended up asking if Bayley really thought not being medically cleared would have stopped her from attacking at Clash of Champions. So she ended up going on and ended up saying that Bayley is nothing but a coward. One who needed her time and after time to keep her title. Sasha ended up saying that Bayley was using her for her own accomplishments. And she ended up knowing Bayley isn't here because she's scared. So Sasha then announced that next week it will be her and Bayley in a singles match with the Smackdown Women's Championship on the line. So Sasha ended up saying that they both knew that when it comes down to them and there's nobody there to save her, Sasha ended up taking off her neck brace, and Sasha ended up saying, Bayley doesn't stand a chance, bitch. So that was basically that. Sasha ended up staring ahead at the camera. Now that, so we're getting Sasha and Bayley next week for the SmackDown Women's Championship, which this should have been at the pay-per-view. This should have been at Hell in a Cell, but knowing WWE, it's going to be a disqualification next week. I know they're definitely planning a DQ in some sort of way in this match for next week. I mean, this is WWE. We know how they're going to do this match in the end. It's going to be a disqualification at the end of the match next week. Calling it now, prediction. So then we had the main event. Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn, Intercontinental Championship on the line. This was a very good match. Very good main event match. And we had Sami then end up unloaded Jeff Hardy in the corner. He ended up beating Jeff Hardy down. Started stomping away at Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy ended up fighting out of the corner. Started delivering right hands to Sami Zayn. Jeff Hardy ended up dropping Sami Zayn with the shoulder. And we had Jeff Hardy end up taking Sami Zayn into the corner and into the other corner. Sami Zayn then ended up rolling to the floor. And Jeff Hardy ended up fighting back. Sami Zayn ended up turning it around on Jeff Hardy. Hardy then ended up countering in the corner. and we saw the turnbuckle. The top turnbuckle was exposed. So Jeff Hardy ended up avoiding a face-first shot into the top turnbuckle, which was exposed, which was revealed that Sami Zayn exposed that turnbuckle when Jeff Hardy was making his entrance, and the referee was like, "Oh, where's the turnbuckle?" Like he had like a look on his face. So after Jeff Hardy ended up avoiding that face first shot into the exposed turnbuckle, Jeff Hardy ended up countering Sami Zayn and then down a back body drop on Sami. There was a point where a superplex was done with Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn on the top. And at the end of the match, you had Jeff Hardy going to the top. Sami Zayn ended up knocking Jeff Hardy's legs out, and Jeff Hardy fell face first into the exposed turnbuckle, which Sami then ended up taking advantage of the match, ended up covering Jeff Hardy for the win. And there you go. Sami Zayn won the match, still retains the Intercontinental Championship. So the right man ended up winning the match. But all in all, very good match from Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn here. And we also got announcements before the match started, Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn, which they announced that it's going to be The Fiend versus Kevin Owens next week. And it will be, of course, The Fiend's first match on Smackdown. And it's going to be Sheamus versus Big E in a Falls Count Anywhere match, which before Sheamus versus Chad Gable started, Big E ended up cutting a little promo saying that he wants Sheamus, and he said, "Oh, it could go around the Amway Center. It could go probably even to Magic Kingdom." So Big E ended up won in the Falls Count Anywhere match with Sheamus. So that's taking place next week on the draft show. So anyways, that was SmackDown for last night. It was an okay show. But anyways, that's it for the review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, I'll see you all later.